So let's see what we got here. So, um, okay, so we're looking at your 6-period class. Okay, so these are seating charts. So we got 3 tables there. Okay, so it's looking pretty good. So we got him back here.
Yeah, so this is
Okay.
number 1 and number, I don't know what I did with number 2.
Okay.
Here he is over
Number
here.
2. Okay.
And then potential
Okay.
here and here.
All right.
For now.
So question, what I'm thinking is, if I was to do this, I would do it like, because you have 6,
Right.
I'm here, right? You have 6 on there, right? So I would get very specific, and I would do something like, I don't know how you want to do it, but you kind of get the idea, right? So that way, I would for sure show him he's down here by himself, and then somehow he would be by in the corner or something like that,
Well,
and
see,
this would be
yeah,
opposite.
because these are quiet kids, and this guy,
Somewhat.
he's absent a lot, so
Yeah.
and he doesn't cause any trouble. Then
So I would get very specific because I wouldn't want there to be any reason
like
why.
right next to each other.
Yeah. So I'd, for example, I'd move him down 1, him down 1. I'd move him up on the very top so he's facing this way.
Yeah.
And then so he's somewhat more isolated by himself. No
It's
one's right
more or
next to him.
less like that, yeah.
But so the thing would be then is you'd want to. It seems like such a ridiculous thing to fight over one thing, but it makes all the difference. So I'd be very specific on that one. And then same thing with him. I probably put him in the corner. I probably put him in the corner.
Well, I would too, but he'll get up and he'll mess with the sinks and
that's where we have to take care of. But we're just trying to think seating wise. If we had the magic wand and we had him sitting down, where would be the best chance for him to be successful or at least disruption?
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking right there, and since these are sideways, and you can change it however you want to do, but so I basically have maybe
on the outskirt or
maybe on that one right there.
Yeah.
And so you got 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Him by himself, obviously, is what I would do, and just be very specific about what chair he sits in as well. And he'll test it. Obviously, they'll test it and everything else. But that's what you want to do, very specific. And then same thing with him. I wouldn't even wait. I'd put him, if he thinks these are the ones going to act up, same thing, corner, him in a corner, no one else around him. And we're just going for the best results possible from the get-go. Like I said, these are maybe possibly. Now, I do group these together because these were the no problems at all.
No. These are the best students right here.
So actually, I'd probably move I switch these tables maybe, or let's see,
just move them down
and move them down and move them up, so that way he's in the corner, and then maybe flip these around.
Yeah, put the girls over there.
Yeah, and so that way you got the best plan possible. And then, like I said, they are going to test it. They're going to try to get up, and we're going to take care of that more. But that's what I would do.
Okay.
So get very specific with it. Now, my seating chart, I'll give you an idea. Don't even worry about it yet. But I keep track of everything. So this is my seating chart. This is the front room. My desk is back here. And so this is where I keep track of, like here, if they raise their hand or participate, I keep track of it here. If, like, say, they use a restroom, I keep track of it down here. Like I have like a B for restroom, bathroom. If they have electronic device, I put E for electronic device. If nurse N. So I'm just keeping track. So this is kind of keeping track of extra credit.
For the whole week?
Participation for the whole, for every 2, 3, for the week,
weeks.
I update this every week. So every week I go in, I either apply these to the grade right away or I just carry it over. But yeah, so basically update this every week is what I do. Because some kids move, some kids come in, some kids leave. But what I found is, and you see me in the class, I always have that clipboard going.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, there's something magical about a clipboard. And kids think even if you're not tracking them, but if you think you're tracking them, it just makes that little bit of a difference. So eventually we may want to get there, but for now, at least we'll start with that starting point right there. Sounds good. Excellent.
So when you're marking things down, like participation, are you giving them points for the class or are you giving them points for like PBIS?
I give is what you want. I give them extra credit points. And truth be told, it really doesn't make that big a difference. I mean,
Yeah.
if a kid volunteers every day, the best it's going to do will probably increase the grade half a letter grade.
Yeah.
But if they're participating every single day, that's not bad. So I make it extra credit points. You could do PBS points possibly, but that's what I do.
Yeah.
And it depends how many points you offer per day too. Usually I offer about 20 points per day just for the work they do.
Right.
So it all depends on the grade and how you do it.
At the beginning it was offline, but once it came online, I started, implementing some things, and it seemed like nobody was into it.
The PBS?
Yeah, except for like my third period, only one kid was like, "Hey, give me this, give me this, give me this."
I thought the same thing too. And I found it interesting because for my advisory today,
There was no big promotion for it.
well, you're right. You're definitely right about that. And it's not as solid as it could be. But I was surprised because for advisory on the announcement, they said, half off, whatever, it's 90% off.
Yeah.
And I says, if anybody wants to go on there and buy something, go ahead. I expected maybe one kid to get up. Half the class got it. And I'm like, oh, all right. So they actually know what this is and they're actually looking. So even though I didn't think they were as interested, surprising that they were. So, but I know what you're saying. I don't think it's as effective as it could be.
Yeah.
But we'll see how they work it. So, yeah. And I'm part of the problem. I don't really promote it too much either, so.
I'll forget about it.
Yeah, exactly. Good.
So many other things.
Too many things going on, right?
It's after the fact. I'm like, oh yeah, I could have done this and that. But
So then, so I look back to what I do at the beginning of the year, right? And actually, I made some horrible notes here, but at the beginning of the year, what I do, and so usually like the second or third day is when I go over my warm-ups. And so I spend like the first day, I think, is I do like intro, second day maybe syllabus, and the third day maybe a syllabus. But then after that, I spend 3 solid days, 4 even depending on how it goes, just going over the warm-up. And once again, the idea is that it's not necessarily, I don't really care about the warm-up too much. I'm just trying to set the tone.
Get them into a routine.
Yes, and I'm using the warm-up to be vigilant, to be make sure everybody's doing what they got to do, and then I intermix in there some expectations, and that's when I use that moment to call the kids out if they're not doing something they're supposed to be doing. My belief is they're in 8th grade, they know what they're supposed to do, and they do. So that's what I use it for. So the question is, what were some warm-ups you were thinking about? That's what my question is, and that's what the homework was. If you could think of some.
Like what we talked about previously was give them more reflection questions to expand it for like a few more minutes. The idea is when they come in, they're kind of hyper already. So is to bring the tone of the class down to a more calmer level to start out with.
Okay.
So it keeps it quiet.
Yeah.
If they're thinking, they're reflecting, they're thinking.
What's the reflection questions on?
Like, it could be any kind of science phenomena, like why does the moon change?
Okay. And then how do they, if they say, I don't know, because they may not know.
Yeah, they may not know.
I don't know, then they put IDK.
Well, I'm trying to stick to science, but I mean, if I have to go outside of science, it might be just, personal questions.
Personal questions, yeah.
What do you think are school rules that should be followed? Or
Yeah, all right.
I did those before at another school, and it seemed to like kind of work a little bit, especially like when they come back from breaks, when they need to be reminded, hey, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that, this is the rules.
Just the top of your head, do you know what you're covering when you first come back?
It'll be more like gravity stuff.
Gravity.
It'd be.
Okay.
It's a continuation of the space program.
All right, gravity, okay.
Gravity and space.
All right, trying to think if there's something like an easy. So the idea would be an easy question that they for sure, like when I do my participation points, I ask them easy, if they're listening at all, they got it. Or it's an opinion thing. So I might say, so the question would be, okay, can somebody please tell me what the title of our notes are today? Which is, it's up there, it's on the paper,
Right.
So I get that, and that usually by starting off small like that, then I get better participations.
Yeah.
Easy questions. So I'm thinking for your reflection, so a possible reflection, science related.
The first day back could be like, hey, what'd you do over the break?
What'd you do over the break?
What
Okay.
movies did you watch? Or
Yeah, something like that. Okay.
did you like this? Did you like that?
Okay. So reflection questions. What's another thing you think you can alternate through? Think about, I have like 3 or 4 I alternate, but.
Something you learned about last semester. What did you like about they could reflect on last semester.
Okay.
What are the things you liked? What are the things you didn't like?
But besides the reflection, what's another kind of warm-up you can do?
Another warm-up would be, I don't know.
No, no. So is it, now this the text? This is not the textbook, but this is a workbook, right?
This is, yeah.
This is the only material you guys really have.
We have a big thick one like that, but that's broken up into 4 different units. And this is like unit 4.
So is this part of
So
that?
this is the same thing as
Okay,
that.
that's part of that.
Only
Okay.
that's the whole year. This is like each unit or quarter.
Okay. So is this the one you guys are going to right now?
Yeah. Well, we're
let's
still
see.
in. We kind of started it, but we didn't finish all
All
of
right.
it.
See, where would gravity be at on this one? I don't know if you want to find it for me here.
This is unit 4.
And what's going to happen? Of course, they're going to damage it. We know that.
Yeah.
But these are consumables, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're okay.
I mean, these are left over from last year.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. 123.
All right.
Gravity in space, space program, astronauts. Why do people float around in the space station?
Stuff like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Gravity in space, launch one. Okay, counter gravity in the universe. Okay.
What do you think is out there? Is there aliens out there? What do you think?
That's not a bad. That's not a bad question.
Maybe they're sending drones down here.
That's not a bad. That's not a bad question, actually. One thing is actually just have them copy something from this.
That was kind of like what Dr. I was mentioning yesterday was like try to get them to like think of stuff in their world
Yeah.
that they can react to.
Yeah. So that's part of it, and that could be part of the
'Cause
reflection.
it gets them more involved
Yeah.
in the
Yeah, I could definitely see that, and that's something you definitely want to work towards, because it does get them more involved. Like I do all the time, my big thinking questions, kind of your opinion thing, and so it definitely is a way to draw them in. For a warm up, you could do that. I mean that wouldn't necessarily be the intention behind it, but that could be something. That could be part of the reflections. The reflection. So something I'm trying to think with gravity. Um, hey, if you dropped a feather, 1 pound feather, 1 pound, which one do you think hit the ground first? And then, just write your response. Here's the key with that one. You got to take out I don't know from it. So you
Yeah.
got to explicitly say, I don't know doesn't count. You get credit, right or wrong, you get credit, but you need to guess. And so go with that one. So then that way, when you ask those questions, why do you think this happens? I don't know doesn't count. They rarely have to put something down, all right? And I would even say write 2 or 3 sentences why you think this is. So specifically reflection, let's say it's 2 to 3 sentences that they have to write,
Okay.
okay? And then another thing, copy something from this. So if you know you're going to cover something on this, they can just copy this from the book.
They could do vocabulary. We have vocabulary in there.
Perfect. And then where's the vocabulary
They
at
could
though?
get more familiar with. It would usually be the words that are like in
Gravity.
Gravity is one.
And where do they find it at, or is that just in the text right here itself?
Probably be at the end of the chapter. Or like galaxies. They might want to get familiar.
So I think they might say it right after, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. By the end of the book, they have like a vocabulary section.
I know this book or not that book.
This book here.
So at the very end.
These kids were doing this last year. They just go to the back and just like all the stuff is in
Perfect.
there. They just look them
And
up.
see, let's see, is galaxies in there?
Yeah.
E-F.
Galaxies,
Excellent. All right. So we got 3 things so far. Reflection.
English and Spanish.
Reflection, they could possibly tie in. Just copy stuff from the text. Copy this paragraph, what else it might be. Vocabulary would be another thing. Let's see, there's 2 more things that we can do using this or something else, or
Yeah, we can make more use of the books. I mean, we haven't really touched
Yeah.
on that much.
and I'll be honest, the books we have, the consumables we have are awful. I don't like those. Those are way above the kids' heads.
Yeah.
There's no way. And so I think this is kind of the same way, it's probably above the kid, but you can at least use this to get from it what you want. Like I wouldn't make these the warm-ups because there's no way they know that
No
without,
apps,
yeah.
no.
What else could we do? Let's see here. Reflection, definitions, copy from the book. do you have them like when you're lecturing, or do you play videos, or what do you do? Because I'm thinking for me, for example, like let's say I'm going to play a short little video, 5-minute video. I'll have them actually write down the questions as part of the warm up.
Oh, okay.
And so then that way, that's part of the questions. It
Yeah.
keeps them busy. They come in, and then I can move in, and they already got the questions.
Right.
So it'll be something like that. If you have them take notes, you could tell them, here's the
We
first note, copy this down, you got so many minutes.
the format that they're used to is me giving them at least 3 homework questions every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I give them notes that follow that
Okay.
after we do like a practice quiz or something
So three
to
homework
reinforce.
questions. What do you mean
Yeah.
by homework questions?
Like I'll give them 3 questions that they have to answer for homework.
Okay,
And at the
three.
end of the week, I give them a stamp in their notebook that they've done it, give them points,
And the way they answer it is by the material you cover
paying
during the
attention and
class.
writing down notes. Yeah, because we'll go over all the answers. Or do you think I should just let them?
No, no, that's not bad. And do you collect that at the end of the week?
It stays in their notebook, but I review it. Like I'll stamp it and make sure that it's done with like just a quick visual.
Okay, so they have a notebook.
Yeah.
That's where they're supposed to
In
keep
fact,
it.
see those boxes over there? They'll be getting new notebooks in January because they
Okay.
kind of filled up the ones that they're working
Okay,
on.
so that's how they do the work. They do it in the notebook. Okay.
That has been the format for that. I've got more participation out of that than what I did last year, which was half the year I spent doing pair decks,
Yeah.
and they seem to get like burned out on constant computer work.
Okay.
I did computer work for like the first fall semester, and then the spring semester of last year we kind of did a mixture of like notes and like book work, and I
Okay.
did some computer work but not as much. And then this year I've done very little computer work.
All right. So let's do that. So how about this here? And the other one is so the 3 questions. Okay. So Monday, let's say they come the first day of the week, they
Yeah,
come in, they copy down the 3 questions.
yeah,
Then maybe the second day they do vocabulary. And then the third day, maybe they copy something down. Fourth day, maybe they reflect upon the week of what's going on, or
yeah.
however you want to do it. And then Friday, well, I totally got my weeks. And then Friday, you go back to those 3 questions again, and they answer those 3 questions.
On usually, depending on what the week is, I usually stop with the warm-ups on Thursday. Friday is usually like a quiz day where I give them the whole period to
Mm-hmm.
use their notes and what they wrote down to try to answer some like a short quiz.
Okay.
That way it gives it more purpose to write things down
Yep.
because like they'll have all the answers there.
So then Friday would be almost every Friday you have a quiz.
Almost every Friday we're
And
doing quizzes.
perfect.
Yeah.
And so
And
then we just need a
I was getting really good results from the quizzes because they had
all
all
the
the
notes.
stuff.
That
But I mean, like everything else, after a while, people get lazy and they
yeah.
stop writing stuff down. And
So I think that's perfect then. So the first day, copy down the questions.
yeah,
Do they and they answer the questions on their own at home?
yeah,
Okay. First day, copy down the questions. Next day, vocabulary. And you don't have to do it in this order, but these are the
focus on vocabulary.
but these are your tools that you
Yeah.
have, and you can pick and choose what works best when it works best. And so, what I was suggesting is you just cycle through these the rest of the year. When they first come in, they're doing one of these 4 things. Then Friday, we'll have a routine for that one. They'll have a routine for that as well. So there's no question. The idea is that they come in, there's no surprise. They know exactly, oh, here we go again. It's vocabulary. Oh, here, that's where we want to get to.
Yeah,
So that's perfect. And so we'll go with those 4.
okay,
Um, and so to give you an idea what it looks like, you want to flip that over. So the things I have are definitions. Then I have also geographical reasoning, which are maps. And then I have a timeline. Those are basically my bread and butter. It's going to be usually most of the time, 80% of the time, it's one of those 3 things, unless I'm doing some special activity. And so I kind of wrote this out here. So day 1, when they come back, what I would do is I would kind of just go over the expectations. I would have like a little slide there.
do you find that on Mondays they're just like a little bit more
No.
active?
No.
I do.
You think so?
I really do. Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
So yeah, no, I would just start, but like I'm not
They're
sure,
very,
chatty,
it's,
catching up on with each
they
other and on the
exactly,
week.
yeah. They haven't
Yeah,
seen their friends for 2 days,
could
so
be.
they
Yeah, could be. Could be.
it's a different vibe on
Yeah,
Mondays than like the rest of the week.
yeah, it could be.
I don't
But
know.
either way, though, right?
I noticed it.
So the day we come back and we come back Tuesday, still the same thing. They're gonna be chatty
Yeah,
because of the break and
yeah.
everything, which is kind of a good thing because sometimes maybe the first day or two of the school year they're kind of more quiet. I'm not sure that's gonna happen or they come back all chatty, but we'll find out. And so the first day I would go over the expectation. Now, what you don't want to do is, all right, guys, we're gonna do something different this year, or hey, guys, I know this is a problem. We're just gonna go right into it. Here's what we got, and they know what the expectations are. And so we're going to basically have like a PowerPoint. Just say, all right, guys, you know, whatever, we're going to do our warm up, here it is, whatever else, but we're going to have a PowerPoint. So the idea would be, imagine, I actually had this one time, imagine you lost your voice. Put everything you could on
That
the
actually happened to me
See, there you go, right?
Yeah.
Put everything you can up there, and so you won't have to say anything. And the
Right.
best thing to do, if a kid has a question, I just go, hey, what are we doing today? That's it. So you want to get that much detail in there as possible and just kind of think it through how it's going to flow. But I would come in probably about half the period, maybe kind of go over those expectations and everything. And we'll talk more about that, what exactly those expectations are and everything else. And then and then from there, we're going to move the seats as well. And then probably about the second half of Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we're just going to go over these things. We're just going to go over them. We're going to, all right, guys, hey, just want to let you know what's going to happen when you first come to class. A little tad different. We're going to practice these things. So we want to practice things to get to the point. By the end of this week, you'll know exactly how to do these. When you first come to class, there'll be no questions. And so we're just going to spend the next 3 days just practicing these. And then, like, for example, definition. So the first one, okay, here's a definition. All right, guys, go ahead. And I tell them how to do it. We'll maybe do the first one together, or whatever else it might be. Okay, look it up here in the book and everything else. All right, the second one, let's give that a shot. Do it by yourself. I'm gonna give you 4 minutes. I have a timer. You don't have a timer. Do you have a?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a timer too?
Yeah.
Sweet. That's beautiful. We're gonna use that for sure. All right, you got 4 minutes. And then if you want to, you can reflect upon it a little bit. Does anybody want to share the answer? How do you want to do it? You can expand these out depending how involved you want to get. Then I say, all right, guys, the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna practice our geographical reasoning. So we practice that. And then that usually takes us through the first day. And then, all right, second day, hey guys, remember what we did yesterday, the definitions? Let's try to go that one more time. You got 6 minutes, go.
I've seen this before. Like, you got 4 minutes, you got 6 minutes.
Yes.
I've got some kids that they're just not used to writing anything, and they're extremely slow.
That's okay, because you can account for it. Because here's the question is, if a kid did not get down the definition or saga or finance, would they not understand the material? The answer is no, because I'm still going to cover the material.
Yeah.
So they don't necessarily have to have this in order to be successful. This is mainly to kind of get them focused. It's like, we'll call it enrichment if you want to, right?
Yeah.
So if they don't complete it, that's not the biggest deal. Our goal with this is just to use that time to get the class focused. That's the main thing.
Right.
And the nice thing about it is it's a little bit of enrichment. We might cover this, but if we don't, we're going to cover it later on in the lesson.
Yeah.
So don't worry about if the kids don't finish it. The main thing is
For the warm-ups.
For the warm-ups, yeah. So as long as they're trying, as long as they're quiet, that's our goal.
Right.
So
for how long? How long is too much time for the warm-up?
7 minutes is perfect for me.
7 minutes is perfect.
7 minutes is perfect for me.
I wasn't going to give them that much time, but at least
7 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes. Depends how quickly you can get the class calmed down
Right.
and how quickly you can do the role and everything else. 7 minutes usually gives me enough time with a little bit of breather just to make sure the class is exactly where I want it at. 6 minutes, probably okay. 5 minutes, I'm kind of stressing a little bit, trying to get it all done, because if one kid comes in late, then that,
Yeah.
So 7 minutes is probably a good period of time. And that's, if you think about it, reflection, depending upon how you get things set up and that, and you can ask deeper questions. It's about right. By the time they get settled down, do you figure
the first 7 minutes they need to be settled down.
Yep.
They need to take off the
Takes about a
backpack.
minute or two to get them quiet.
Yeah.
Then that's about 5 minutes to work. And then you're good. I'll let you get to class here.
Okay.
You okay still meeting afterwards a little bit? Finish this up?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, sure.
So once again, so the idea is that we're going to come back. We got the warm-ups that they're going to be working on. So I thought we'd do, now your question was time-wise. Do you think 7 is okay, or were you thinking shorter, more? I mean, it's whatever suits you best.
Yeah, it's probably enough time, 6 or 7 minutes, to like have them calm down, relax, reflect, have some quiet.
Yes,
If it starts the day off quiet, then the rest of the period should be okay.
but
Rather
exactly.
than they come in rambunctious and it just escalates from there.
So a couple things about that. So here we go. Here's what I was thinking. Maybe we can write down some verbiage or things that we'll put on the PowerPoint. So the homework's going to be create the next 3 days, 4 days lessons for when we come back. That's going to be the homework.
Yeah.
That'll be tonight, hopefully. Then tomorrow we'll talk about the discipline part, and then Friday we can just make sure it's all ready to go. So when you come back Tuesday, we're ready to run. So what I would do, so I would start off by on the screen, I would have it, and this might be our very first slide. So what is your, without having to say a word, what is your expectations of them? So imagine you're looking at the screen, what would they have to read to know exactly what you want them to do for the first minute or two of class?
Well, the first minute is just come in, put your, get what you need, put your backpacks away, sit down. We're gonna have a new seating chart, so that's gonna disrupt a couple of minutes.
Yeah. All right, so let's do that.
But after that,
So let's start with that then. So write that down. I would put down,
this is the Tuesday, right?
this is Tuesday. When you first walk in, you have it going up. Put your backpacks, they know where to be, like, put your backpacks against the wall.
Yeah.
So I just bullet point, put your backpack against the wall. Make sure you have something to write with, and make sure you're sitting down in your assigned seat. You only have 2 minutes to do this. If you can't do this within 2 minutes, you'll have or if you can't do this within 2 minutes, you'll have a detention, or if you're not sitting in your assigned seat, by the time the timer goes off, you'll be assigned to lunch detention. Something like that.
I've had that, yeah. I've been trying to use that.
Let's do that. Let's do that. So
2 minutes.
So you can tell them exactly what you want. Make sure your backpacks are put away.
Backpacks away.
I would just move 4 bullet points, not a nice period. Backpacks put away, have something to write with, and make sure you're sitting in a assigned seat. If you're not in your assigned seat within the matter of when the timer goes off, you will be assigned a lunch detention. And then we'll talk about how we're going to follow that up, but that'll be tomorrow.
Okay.
All right, so that'd be the first thing. And then timer goes off, and then we'll talk about what happens when they're not doing that. We'll get to that in a second tomorrow. But then when you're ready for the next thing, it's going to be, hey, just make sure we're on the same page, everybody. I'm sure you guys know this already, but just to make sure so there's no questions, let's quickly go over the expectations. And so those expectations, name one.
Yeah, there's no eating, drinking in here.
So put that, you're going to make that one slide. Actually, first slide, no eating or drinking in class. So that slide goes up, no eating, drinking in class. Oh, you guys already know this. I'm sure you know this, but I just want to make sure because, if you are eating and drinking in class, hey, by the way, just, it's not me. This is something the principal wants. He told me I got to issue you guys a lunch detention. So, however you want to phrase it, right? And it doesn't make a difference. The point is, because what's going to happen is this first 3 weeks, we're going to nail, boom, we're going to be a hawk on all these things. But we want to put it out there just a way as a reminder. And I tell you right now, 99% is what we do, not what we say. So we're going to say this one time, and just to say it's out there, because later on a kid might say, well, I didn't know, or it's done. It's done within the first 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
Last year, they gave us the Google form to issue an immediate lunch detention.
Yeah.
They said don't use it now. So what?
Correct.
So I've been putting a lot of stuff in Aries, and then when something that's kind of extreme, I'll do Aries and I'll fill out a referral.
I have a meeting with Lanier later on.
If they could bring that back and
So
just put down, lunch detention, this is the reason why. They were, this.
Our goal is not to give them a lunch detention. So we're going to say that, and then I'll tell you tomorrow the plan of how we get to that point.
Okay.
But that's so they know it. This is the consequence.
Yeah.
So then okay, so that's the first thing. So next thing you want to make sure that we're all on the same page
No
is
eating,
what?
drinking, no phones.
So no phones? All right.
Whatsoever.
So no electronics. How's that sound?
Yeah.
So no electronics.
Yeah, I tell them that at the door when they first walking in.
And so no electronics. And once again, and so that'd be enough. Remember, no electronics. Hey, just to clarify, when no electronics, hey, once again, if you don't like this, I get you. Go talk to administration. But hey, just no cell phones, no earbuds, nothing like that. So the moment you come in, the moment the class starts, if I see it, I gotta take it. Simple as that. I gotta turn it to the office. What the office does with it, that's up to you guys.
This is what I do. I'm constantly walking around.
Yeah.
It's kind of like my weight loss program, but
There we go. That's perfect. Give me the phone. I like that. That's good. That's good.
I always have it with me.
That's perfect. So that's it. And you can even say, hey, if you guys don't remember, this is what I got, So that's the second slide. What's the third thing? Or is there anything else you think?
Remain at your seat.
There we go.
I got a couple of jumpers that like to jump up and hop.
Stay in your assigned seat. And this is where I'd be very...
Others are, yeah. Same.
And this is where I'd go into, this is where I would elaborate. I would say, you got to stay in your assigned seat the entire period. No getting out of your seat. If you want to get out of your seat, you got to raise your hand. If you don't, and then I got to issue some sort of consequence.
Right.
And I would let them know that. And I say, when I say your assigned seat, I really mean your assigned seat. For example, if there's two desks, you're sitting by yourself on this table right here, and the seats open up next to you, that's not yours. You got to stay in your assigned seat. Yeah. And if they ask why and all this stuff, if they're asking why, 99% of the time, they're asking why, not because they really care to know why. They're just trying to push it and go at it, right? And if they say why, I say, hey, because I got a seating chart and I got to make sure it's consistent in case someone else comes in, covers a class, or for safety reasons, something like that. And
I tell them it's easier for me to take attendance quicker because I'm spending too much time, and I'm late with, just sit in your assigned seat. I go through it quick and
once the explanation makes no difference to them. Yeah. They're mainly just trying to,
if there's a reason,
and they don't even care about the reason. They're just trying why, trying to question, just to try to go, and question and everything else. So then that'd be like the third thing. Anything else you could think of that you really want to?
Well, just emphasize the backpack problem. I mean,
well, that one you already got, right? You already got that down because that was the very first slide. Yeah. So that was the very first one. And so after that, then you could do that. And so you can.
When I'm ready to talk, I need silence.
There we go. And just make sure when I'm up there talking, it has to be quiet. We got a lot to cover this semester, and more this semester than we did last semester, and we can't miss a day or a beat. So when I'm talking, you just got to make sure you're 100% quiet. If you have a question, of course, raise your hand. Let me know.
Yeah, raise your hand.
Yeah.
Don't interrupt me when I just start.
No.
Can I go to the bathroom? Go to the nurse. No. Can I do this? No. Can I move seats?
Yeah, absolutely not. Student mine, always ask questions. I'm not sure if you know him. Initials JF. He was I don't know, maybe JF. He was always like, what's the question? He just starts blurting out things. Just ignore him 100%. I just ignore the question. I'm talking to class. Now, if it's come a disruption where he's like yelling there across the room, that's a different story. If he's asking me a question, blah, 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 never raising a hand, he knows a routine. Just trying, just ignore it, right? So those are things we're going to focus on. And so actually before this, so you got that. And then what I would do, so we have to do attendance. So you're going to have the old seating chart.
Yeah.
So you can quickly do attendance. All right, perfect. So you quickly do attendance. All right, got it. Then after this, I would say, all right, guys, you know what? New semester, let's mix it up a little bit. We're going to move seats. Now, here's the deal. And I would have a slide saying all this. So everything's a slide. Put the slide up. All right, today we're moving seats. I just want to let you know, I'm going to point to a spot. And when I tell you go, you need to move there. If you're not in your new spot by the time the timer goes off, you will have a detention. And then you go by, do your thing. Okay, Bob, you are here. Susie, you are here, right? You with me? You're here, you're here. And if they're talking, we'll talk about that, but like once, because you already told your expectations. Yeah. If they're talking while you're talking, then we're gonna address it right away. And we'll show you how to do that tomorrow. But that's the thing. So we already laid the foundation, this expectations, and now we do it. And then boom, timer, go, 1 minute. And if they're not there in 1 minute, then we're gonna show them the consequence, the progression part. And so the first day, 2, 3, out of the class of 30, you're probably gonna have 20 lunch detentions. It's not actually between lunch detentions, but that's what it's gonna start with on the board, and we'll whittle it down. So now we covered expectations, ready to go. And you can elaborate as much as you want on this, slow it down, however you want to expand it, questions, I really want to ask questions. If they're asking questions, they're just trying to start something. There's no questions with this. This is how it is. And so now they're in new seats. All right, guys. So here's what we're doing. This is what we're going to do for the next couple of days. We're going to go over our warm-ups, our bell ringers. So we're going to spend the next couple of days to do that. So with that said, go ahead and get out your journal. Now, is it a notebook or a journal they have?
It's a notebook.
The notebook.
Yeah.
You're going to give them a new one.
Yeah.
So that's perfect. That moment. So here we go, everybody. And you pass out the notebooks.
Yeah.
Everybody has a brand new notebook. Write your name on it, whatever you do. How do they get that at the beginning? Do they get that? How do they get it each period, and how do they give it back to you each period? Or do they hold on to it? How's that go?
They'll hold on to it, yeah.
They hold on to
Keep
it.
it in their backpack. Just make sure they bring it every day.
Perfect. Okay. So, and overall, they do a pretty good job holding on to it?
Most of them do.
All right. But still, you're always going to have your
Yeah.
few.
I was trying to figure out if I could keep them here, because that would be the ideal situation. But another school I worked at, I tried that, and it just kind of like became a big mess.
Because other kids take others' notebooks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, they mess with it and everything
Yeah,
else.
Exactly. I had a cabinet for them, and they,
Yeah.
each shelf was a different period, and they would
just
constantly,
take it.
or they wouldn't put them in the right place.
Yeah, and I would just let them hold on to it for now.
Yeah.
We can work on that later
They're
on.
old enough to take
Yeah.
care of their own.
All right, so now, all right, here's a new notebook. Make sure you put your name on it. Here we go. And then we go through the warm-ups. And so, so the warm-ups we have again, did you already write them down somewhere? If you want to write them down, that we're going to do. I'm trying to think where I wrote it down at here. All right. So we said the warm-ups that we're going to rotate through will be the 3 questions at the beginning of the week. We said there's vocabulary questions.
Or just write down vocab.
That's fine, yeah. Vocab, yeah. Copy something from the text. And reflection. You don't have to use, like for example, you don't have to do each one of these every day, just whatever suits you best. But now these are the 4 that we're going to rotate in and out throughout the year. So we're going to go through these 4 different ones. And so the first one, let's go through this other class, the 3 questions. Now you guys know about the 3 questions already. So do me a favor and put up the 3 questions. Boom. Copy these 3 questions down. Is that how you do it? Just copy them down in their notebook?
Yeah.
Copy these 3 questions down in your notebook. And you have probably maybe 3 minutes to do that. I don't know how long you give them. Do you give them time?
I don't time them on that, because like in the beginning, I was kind of gauging how long it would take them to write something.
Yeah.
They're so used to typing or texting that this skill is like dying for them.
I've timed it very well. I give them 1 minute per question. They write 1 minute per answer. And then I give them about 2 minutes to get their paper ready for my class.
Yeah.
So they already have their notebook, so they really don't have to get it ready. So maybe a minute to get out their stuff, a minute per question, and a minute per answer. So in this case, minute, get your notebook, 4 minutes.
Yeah.
That's how I would time it. Timer going, timer goes, boom. What's going to happen is if they get too chatty, right? If it's past your threshold, you're going to start, and we'll talk about, you're going to start writing names for detentions. And they're going to be like, whatever, and so forth. And then when timer goes off, ding, say, hey, I noticed when you guys were doing this was an individual activity. I know some of you are talking and not focused, everything else. So I'll put your name on there on the board. Remember, any kind of individual activity, you got to do it by yourself. It's not a partner. When it's partner time, we'll let you know, but it's not partner time.
Yeah.
And so you're going to, like I say, have a lot of names on there, okay? So then that is the, for the questions. And then what you might want to do, and then, okay, maybe do another one of those, all right? So I'm not sure, do you think you have to explain that, or you think they have that part down already pretty well? The 3 questions.
They'll have that, yeah.
Because you've been doing that, right?
It's pretty understandable, yeah.
All right. And then the next thing would be, all right, let's try this here. Another thing you might have is vocabulary. And you're going to have directions up there. Define these 3 terms. Use the glossary, use pages. So like, here we go.
Yeah, they're in there. So
yeah, so define these 3 terms, use it in here, whatever you have. And for this one, I give them about, same thing, about a minute per definition. Minute per definition. I do something where they do a where they draw a little image with it.
How many words do you give them? Like just
2.
A couple? 2?
Just 2.
Okay.
Just 2. And so for me, like it usually takes 2 minutes or 6 minutes I'll give them for this. So 2 minutes to get their stuff out, get their paper set up. 1 minute for each definition. That's 4 minutes. And then I do something called an aha, where you have to like draw a picture or something. That's another 2 minutes. So that's 6 minutes. So same thing. So when you're pacing it, just kind of think of it that way. So the first one you might want to do together. All right, you know, the us, them, whatever else it is.
Yeah.
And so, okay, so a definition. So here's what we're gonna do. Here are the directions, or go to this page here. So let's do the first one together. So everybody open your book to whatever the page is, the glossary. The first word's gonna be, now here's the thing. You don't wanna, you're going to use everything you've done already to practice skills, because you wanna have your material available for stuff coming up. So, you know, wherever gravity is, or so stuff you already covered, that's what you're going to use to practice this.
I was going to ask you that. Should we jump into new stuff right away,
No.
or spend some time reviewing maybe some of the last couple of topics that,
Before we get to that, we're not even, the review part, if we review part or start with the new material, it will not be the week we come back. The week we come back is strictly focused on this.
Okay.
That is it. And so when we're practicing this, we're going to use stuff we already did.
Yeah.
Just so that way when it comes time next week to go through this, you have something applicable to it, you know?
Right.
So you're gonna go start previous. What it really is doesn't make a difference. If they don't finish the way, it makes no difference. We're just trying to set the tone. That's what we're really trying to do with all of this. And now they should have it. So then you would have a slide for the vocabulary. And okay, here we got the vocabulary, boom, we got all that. All right, maybe go through it. I got the timer. First one, do together. All right, second one, all right, here we go. Let's try it again. This is, you're on your own this time. You got 4 minutes. Go for it. Here are the definitions. And they write down those definitions. Timer goes off. If you want to, depending upon how you're feeling, is comfortable. Does anybody want to share out what they got? Or I don't know, depends upon the class. You could do that. Or you could go over something. Hey, I noticed that when you guys were doing this, some of you seem a little lost. You know, maybe this helps you out. So you could review it if you want to. It's not necessarily important, but the goal is, are they quiet? That's what we're going for.
Yes.
Quiet and focused. That is our main thing. We're not really worried about content this first week at all. And then you want to cycle into something else. And so that might take, that's for sure Tuesday was the questions and maybe a vocab. And then come Wednesday, you're going to start immediately with the warm-up up there that you got already covered, you know, so they know how to do it. They're going to come in, do it, same expectations. You're going to say it again. If your backpack's not on the ground and so minutes, you know, you will have a detention. Go ahead and define these 2 words. You got 4 minutes. And I actually have my timer going before they even walk in. So like if I give them 4 minutes, as soon as the class is over, I hit the timer, 8 minutes, 4 minutes are passing, and then 4 minutes. So the timer's already going when they come in.
Yeah.
One less thing I have to think about. It's already going. They see it. They know, oh, we're really already in time. And then so the next day, you would kind of review a little bit, or have them start with the vocab or whatever else you choose. Then go maybe do a few more of those. Then introduce the next thing. And then the following day, maybe let's say you introduce the copying something down. Then the Thursday, they come in, warm up, copy this down. And you're just basically going through these warm-ups. You're going to have them do several warm-ups. And then Friday, that's when, you know, it kind of all comes together. And how do you grade? Like, for example, how would you grade this if they were to do this, these warm-ups?
They turn them in, and I check and make sure they do it.
The notebook?
I have a kind of a format that I started giving to them, because finding paper and having them get paper was kind of an issue. So I said, I'm going to solve that problem once and for all. So we would do a Monday through Thursday. I'd give them that on Monday, keep it until Thursday. I'll pick it up on Thursday.
Okay. So this would be something different than their notebooks. This wouldn't be in their notebook, though.
No, it wouldn't be in their notebooks. It'd be something that's graded separately, because they'd get points for the homework questions. They get points for warm-up.
So the question they would become, what would be the best way to do this? They could they write the definition? They could do all that. They could do this.
They could put that in there, yeah. There's enough room.
Yeah, do this then. Instead of having them write their notebooks, have them write on this one.
Yeah.
If this is where the questions would go as well then, the 3 questions, that's perfect then.
I was having them write the question and the answer, but then to save time and so I could get into the real meat and potatoes of the class, I just had them, put the answers in there.
Put the answers, like.
So they kind of got used to that. I switched it up because it seemed like we were spending way too much time on the warm-ups before.
Okay.
When they would write everything out.
Yeah. It depends on your time frame.
And not everybody was doing it, so I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, let me make it easier.
I like this because it's easy to grade. It's from beginning to end. And if they lose it, no big deal. Here's another one. Just don't
Yeah.
get credit for the first day.
Right.
All right. So that's totally good. This is easy for them to grab. It's easy for them available. Okay, I think that's good. That's perfect. So yeah. So when they come in,
Every Monday.
boom, they got their thing. All right. Here you guys go. Here's this. Let's go ahead and write down our 3 questions. Okay. So they write down the 3 questions here. Perfect. And then the next day they would do that. I think this is the perfect way to do it. So this assignment though, this week though, we couldn't put it on this one because that's too much information
Yeah.
for this.
That'd be the transition. It'd be something else.
So it's not too easy. So
Friday is more like if they're not taking a test on Friday, maybe they could be like a reflection. What did you learn this week?
yeah.
How did it impact
And then you
you?
can, well, the Friday would, so this first Friday would just strictly be warm-ups.
Yeah.
So how about this one? You give them the notebook. They do this just for next week when they come back
Separately.
in the notebook.
Okay.
In the notebook, that's how you, and you're gonna collect it, and then you're gonna grade them, and then Monday, you'll pass it back to them, and then from there on out, they will do their warm-ups on this. So next week, they're doing a notebook just so you have them working on something, so there's enough room, and just to have it down, we'll call it an assignment, just like you would like your normal thing. You'll grade it that weekend, and then the following Monday, you give the notebook back to them. All right, guys, now we got our warm-ups down. We're not gonna put your notebook though. Remember, you guys remember this, right? We're gonna put it on here. So here you go, Monday, go for it. You got 4 minutes, make it happen. And that's what we'll do. So notebook next week to practice all of these, and then the warm-ups from there on out will be on here.
Yeah.
Sound good? I think, would that work, you think? Or is there a reason
Sure.
you think it wouldn't work?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we got that. So then the assignment then will be to create the PowerPoint slides or Google Slides, I assume you use, right?
I use both. Yeah.
Okay, so whatever it is. And I would do, like, for example, my first day, I have all of this, but sometimes we only get to here, which is A-okay, because not covering content is just going through the thing, but I want to have more, not less,
Yeah.
because I don't want there to be any time period. I just take it all the way, I take my class all the way to the last, about 3 minutes before the bell rings.
Yeah,
Or
that's
4 minutes before the
that's
bell
about
rings.
where they start getting fidgety.
Not even that, because they have to get their backpacks. So
Yeah.
I take it all the way to the very end. I don't let it up to the very, very end. So the assignment then will be to create Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday slides. And then you're just going to make it very explicit. The main things you're going to have on there, here's what we're doing. And then here's how long you have to do it. When they first come into class, you're also going to tell them if you don't do it, you have a detention. Just kind of just think how you want the whole thing to flow. So it's going to flow that way pretty smoothly. That's Tuesday, and then Wednesday, you're just going to be same thing, warm-ups. Thursday, warm-ups. Friday, warm-ups.
Yeah.
Then you're going to collect it at the end, and that takes you the first week. And then coming back on, the question was, should you do review or should you move on to new material? My question to you is, do they have to know the previous material in order to understand this material going on now, next semester?
They will, yeah, because a lot of stuff kind of repeats. A lot of like we'll do like pop quizzes or it's a lot of repeating questions, and a lot of it is based off of their like state exams.
Okay, so the state exam for sure, right?
Yeah, so they don't forget what they learned
Correct.
earlier. Because when they get tested at 8th grade, it's everything they learned
Yes,
from 6th and
yes.
7th.
So
So there's a lot of the easy stuff that's built into it too.
So as a department, have you guys decided, or as a science, have you guys decided something? Because my thought for history, for example, we just go forward because they don't have to know what happened with the colonies, understand the
Yeah,
Civil War, right?
right.
And we don't have to worry about the test for that and everything. So we're able to just move forward. Science, in order to understand the next material, gravity, do they have to know what happened previous and understand this current material?
Not necessarily.
So then I would just move forward to the new
Yeah,
material.
we can move on to the new material.
New material. Now, eventually, you could, we could do that when we do lesson planning and everything else. We can have purposeful and meaningful chosen days that we'll go back and do a review. So we can still do review in it. That's no
Yeah.
problem at all. But I would just start with the new material first of all. And then as we're going, I would start incorporating some of the old stuff just to kind of keep it fresh. So that way, especially when the state test comes,
Yeah.
they're better prepared for it.
Yeah.
But I would just think with mentality, all right, going forward, how am I, lessons, gravity, what am I to do?
Right.
That's what I would do. And then try to systematically plan how you're going to input the other stuff later on.
Yeah.
So I think that's good. What else? I think that's it there. Any questions? What do you think? It's a lot, right? It's a lot. It's a whole lot. I know your thought in your mind right now, tell me if I'm wrong, your thought is, this sounds all good, but what happens when the student gets up?
Well,
What am I sending out of the
it's-
office again? What's
I
gonna
mean, is it going to work? Is it? I mean, there's no guarantee, but I mean, all we can do is try, right?
it's gonna work. Because let me tell you, well, we'll go more detail, but for example, that first day, each class, you're probably gonna, this is the verbiage I'll use, is you're gonna write there, you're gonna have a board and you're gonna say detention on it. And you're just gonna write names. Anything
That's out of order.
out of order. Anything. The question is, what do I want it to be? Because we talked about what do you want it to be. If it crosses that threshold, you're gonna write their name.
Yeah.
Especially if they're kids that normally don't get in trouble, you're gonna write their name up there.
Yeah.
It's got to be fair across the board, and you got to think about that
Indiscriminately.
indiscriminately, and you're gonna write things on the board. And then here's what's gonna happen: is you got 20 names on the board, all right? And guys, you got lunch attention, all right? And they're gonna be protests, blah blah, whatever. Blah, blah, blah. You're just gonna, all right, guys, move on to the next thing. They're gonna be talking, blah blah blah, whatever. Move on to the next thing. You're gonna ignore it. And then what's gonna happen is they're gonna be working on one of their warm-ups, right? 4 minutes. You're gonna come around, and I don't know why I always say Susie. Hey, Susie, I got your name up there for retention. I got it up there because, when 2 minutes hit, you were sitting and talking to your friend, you weren't quiet. That's why I put your name up there. But I tell you what, if you're okay, I'm okay, take your name off, but you just got to make sure you're great the rest of the period. Can you do that for me?
You can bargain with them, yeah.
That's it. And she's going to say, yes. If she says, yeah, that sounds good, then all right, cool. Then just make a note of it. And if they're like, well, I don't think my name should be up there anyways,
Attitude.
this is what I do. Hey, Susie, your name's up there, so I want to let you know. I'll gladly take it off. Just gotta make sure you're good recipe. Do you know why it's up there? Because you're talking about skin. Does that make sense? Well, I don't think. I just walk away. Because there's nothing good's gonna come from it. It's a walk away. And then you're just gonna make your rounds. So you got 4 minutes. You walk your rounds and you just quickly talk to, hey, guys, name we're taking off. Your name, we're gonna take it off. Taking it off. And so out of that, 20 kids are on there. You're probably maybe will end up with 5 kids that are gonna stick for lunch detention. 5 kids. And then you're gonna, and then you're gonna come to them and say, hey, here's the deal, man. See me after class. I always say, okay, if you got lunch detention, see me after class. Those 5 kids see me after class. They're gonna come. They're like, hey, this is stupid. Hey, here's the deal, guys. I got a class to run here. I just need to have a quick conversation with you. Your name's up there, but here's the deal. I don't want to call home. I don't want to send anything to the office. So I'll make a deal with you. No lunch detention today, but you got to do better tomorrow, right? And so then out of those 5, you'll probably have 2 kids. They'll just like stupid and walk out. Then those kids, then I follow up with lunch detention, call home. So you start with a list of 20, and then you're probably down to maybe 2. You're actually gonna have to follow up with a phone call home. So about 10 a day, but that 10 will quickly start going down. They'll call home, and then you're going to be left with those kids. Those kids that we thought, those are the kids you're going to be left with. But the other 90%, that's the idea. They're falling in line.
Yeah.
And so then we can conduct class. But it's going to start with that big list, and you're going to have those quick conversations, and then see where the kids take it from there. So we'll go more on the progression. We'll actually write it down, the plan of how we're going to play it out. But that's how it kind of looks. The key is just being consistent. The key is
don't let them get away with anything.
don't let them get away with anything.
Yeah, food, candy,
nothing,
gum.
Nothing. You said it at the beginning, that is it. If they say, well, so-and-so said this, or you did, I don't care, this is what it is now.
Yeah,
all right?
I saw it.
That's right. And I think you're pretty good at this. Temperament, I don't think there's ever a problem. That's something I had trouble with a little bit first because I just, But as long as you keep that cool, calm, collected thing and just, hey, this is the thing, this is it, this, and go through it, you should be fine. So that'll be our plan. So homework, go ahead and work on all those slides.
Sure.
Tomorrow we'll talk more about the progressive addition, actually how it's going to look and play out a little bit more. And then we'll play some scenarios, and you tell me, well, how a kid says this and how I would respond. And then Friday we'll meet lunchtime just to make sure we got it all sync and ready to go. And then that way when Tuesday comes, we'll flip the switch and see how it goes. And then I'll try to stop in tomorrow. Is that Thursday? Are you guys just watching the movie tomorrow, or are you guys doing anything tomorrow?
Tomorrow's the only day that really matters. We're doing like the break down the question.
All right, I'm gonna come in. Yeah, here we go. I'm gonna come in tomorrow then.
Okay.
And just to get a view, get a feel for it, and
Yeah.
see what I can see.
Yeah. Sure.
All right, let's get out of here before we catch on fire.